Hey everyone, today we're revealing a new tutorial series here on the channel, and we're starting off by showing you how I make haunted Nendoroid photos. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to the very first tutorial slash breakdown of this still unnamed series here on Trifig, where we look at some cool movies and then take some even cooler Nendoroid photos based off those movies. Today we're going to start off my favorite supernatural comedy. That's of course Ghostbusters. So let's go. Now I told you you're not in this one. Alright, so for today's project, what we're going to try and do is make a ghostly encounter with our Nendoroids. Now, I've done a couple of these in the past, especially last year I did 2 Ghostbusters shots for my Instagram, and I just thought I'd go over them today and make a new one. It's especially helpful if you ever want to take a photo of your Nendoroid but don't want to have these arms. The tutorial pretty much shows you how to remove those as well. And for the parts today, what we're going to use is Union Nendoroid out of Konosuba with faceplates from Aoba at a New Game and Micah at a Blendes. We're also going to use Snow Miku Crane Priestess version, and that's just because she's got those sweet garments that are just hanging off and hair which give us that ghostly look that we're looking for. As for the background, we're using my shining floor and shining background. I made these and got them printed at my local FedEx office for about $25, which isn't too bad and the detail's really good. As for the camera, we're going to be using Honica, which is my A6000 with a 30mm macro lens. It's a great setup and I recommend it to anybody who wants to move up from their cell phone or simple point and shoot. It's compact, easy to use, and real price friendly. As far as lights, as you can see, I'm not using anything special, it's just whatever light comes from my window. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with the breakdown. Alright, so let's go ahead and set up the scene. Miku's going to be placed on a razor slightly tilted towards the camera so you can see her face. It's going to be the same thing for Union. Alright, now once you've got them set up, you're going to turn to your camera. This is where using something like a DSLR or mirrorless camera really comes good for these kind of shots, and that's because you can control the exposure, the shutter speed, the aperture, everything. So for our ISO, we're going to set it to 100, which means there's going to be less grain. It may need more light, so I'm not going to be using any special lights here just because I don't have any. We're just going to be using the light that's coming in from my window. For the shutter speed, we're going to keep it at about a second. Anywhere from there should be good enough to leave the light, and we're going to put our aperture at about a 5.6 just so that we include some detail from the background. We don't just blur it out from existence. Alright, so with all that done, let's go ahead and take our first shot. Alright, you're going to just want to take a look, make sure everything looks in detail. Zoom in a little bit in the back of your camera, make sure everything looks fine. Once you're good, if you don't have to take more shots, go ahead and return to your setup. We're going to take away Union, Miku, and her riser, and that way we just have the base and the background. And once you've got them removed, return to your camera, don't change any of the settings, leave it just the way it was. Alright, so go ahead and take your shot. So now, since you've not changed any of the settings, what you essentially have is the exact same shot twice. Once with the characters and once without. And that without is going to be our base plate. So let's go ahead and bring both our shots into Photoshop, and we'll go ahead and get started, and I'll show you the first step, which is going to be erasing the riser and erasing their stands. Alright, so now that we're on the computer, let's go ahead and bring in the pictures to Photoshop. We're going to start off first with a clean plate. Let's go ahead and get this screen going. That way you can follow along with what I'm doing right here. Cool, we're in Photoshop. First image we're going to use is the clean plate, the one where we didn't have Union or Miku on the side. And pretty much what we're going to do with this is, once we get it cropped to what we need, it'll be what we use. So when we delete the arms and the razors, this will fill in the background so that we don't have to do a whole lot of like cloning or painting, and it's just going to fill the background, make it easier. Cool, second image we have, it's the one with Union and the one with Miku. And as you can see, I've already started getting rid a bit of Union's arm right here, and that's really easy. This one anybody can do. Pretty much in Photoshop, you got a lasso tool right here. It looks like a little cowboy lasso. You can take that, click, and kind of go around anything you don't want to have anymore. So staying on the right layer, this is the one with Union on it. What you can do now in Photoshop is just pretty much just hit delete on your keyboard, and as you can see, you've got the background clean plate filling in the spot where we just use the last tool to get rid of. But if you let go of the last tool, you can see there's a bit of a hard edge. And you can actually see that more right over here on the razor. If I were to delete that, it's a little brighter, but easiest way we can do that is the eraser tool set to a kind of a low, opacity, but with a feathered edge. And you can go in here, whoa! Right layer, always stay on the right layer. You can do this. You can kind of go in here and start to erase away, this layer that we have Miku on. As you can see, it's starting to blend in pretty nicely. And I'll zoom out right now so you can see. So there you go. The base plates are being really useful, so it doesn't have, we're not having to go in there doing a whole lot of cloning, doing a whole lot of anything extra. All we're doing is erasing from the Miku layer, and it looks pretty good. Okay, cool. So let's move on. I did a bit of cropping, just so I can give it more of a square feel, since I can end up posting it online anyway. Okay, so after I cropped it, this is what we have. So right now, Miku just looks like jumping in the air. We want to make her look like a ghost. What we're going to do here is, let's go into this guy. This is going to be our final shot. And as you can see, Miku does look a bit more ghostly right here. Pretty much, she's transparent. That's really easy to do. So from here, all I did was I did a bit of color dodging to Yunyun's face right here, just so it can stick out of the shadow. And that was just done with the brush tool set to color dodge, and opacity was brought down to about 10-12%. And color was set at white, and you just kind of color around her face, and that brings it out. Next, we cut Miku out of the back. We pasted Miku and brought her opacity down to about 74%. That'll give her that ghostly little see-through look right here. And then we use the brush tool, still at color dodge, but we're going to bring the opacity back to 100. And on a new layer, you're just going to go all the way around Miku. You can kind of give her a shape if you want. And you set that layer just like this. So I brought the opacity down again to about 40-50%, and on color dodge. It's going to create this little kind of ghostly aura to our Nendoroid. Really going to help out with the picture. And after that, we did a bit of highlights to Yunyun's eyes. I'll click them on and off so you can see it. It's not very subtle, but it helps bring out her eyes a little bit. And we're also going to use the brush tool and give Yunyun a shadow, just because of all the reflection and the light being cast off by Miku's ghostly aura. That's pretty easy. We also use the brush tool to make a vignette right here, give it a bit of an old-timey haunted feel. And then I went ahead and added particles. I add particles to almost everything I do. I love particles in my pictures. It always looks so really cool. And you can do that easily too with this little like oval shape tool set to white. You just do something like that. Go into filter, use the Gaussian blur, blurs it up real nice. And pretty much I just did that a bunch of different times, different sizes. I used the eraser tool. I went around some of them, tried to blend them around, blend them out. And pretty much we're at the goal of the picture right here. You've got Yunyun in shock and awe, and Miku's right here starting to haunt her. But it looked a little too bright. It looks a little more daylight than anything. So what I did was on the very top layer, I did this kind of, blue finish to it. But when it started off, it was just like that. And what we want to do is bring in the opacity to about 40. I like 47, but you can keep it here from 45 to 50. That's pretty good. And we'll set this layer mode to soft light. You got this kind of blue tint. And once you turn back on all your layers. So now with this new blue layer, instead of a very warm image, we've got this kind of cool image going on right here that also gives it a nice nightly feel. That's pretty much all there is to making this picture. I really hope you guys like this tutorial. I understand that I keep taking the long way around to a bunch of this stuff. So let me know in the comments if there was an easier way I could have done to get around this. Tutorials will get better, and I can for sure tell you that in 2 weeks we'll be going over and trying to do a shot from The Conjuring. So if you've not seen that movie yet, go out and see it so that we can all kind of get together and know what we're going to do. But I definitely recommend Ghostbusters. It's a great movie. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. Now go out there, make your own ghostly little Nendoroid stories. Subscribe to this channel for future tutorials and figure reviews. We've got about a month or so till my next figure review comes out and gets delivered. So stay tuned with us, and don't forget to like this video. Where's the bell coming from? Union, where's that? Where's Miku? Union, whoa. Oh my god. Union, get out of there. Union, run! Run, Union, run!